Hello and good morning. This is your daily outlook for Friday, 23rd of December. The euro produced moderate gains against most of its major counterparts as a thin market and upcoming holidays kept trading within narrow bands. ECB Executive Board member Bini Smaghi gave an interview for the Financial Times and said that quantitative easing could be one of the tools used by the ECB if the risk of deflation surfaces. Versus the US dollar, the single currency rose to 1.3054 from 1.3036. Against the Swiss franc, the euro moved up to 1.2214 from 1.22.7. Versus the Australian dollar, the single currency fell to 1.2878 from 1.2944. It had earlier recorded an all-time low at 1.2834. The Japanese banks are closed today celebrating the Emperor's birthday. The US dollar retraced against a basket of currencies as a series of macroeconomic data pointed towards a strengthening labour market with slowing economic growth overall. The US unemployment claims for the past week came out lower than expected, while the GDP released for the third quarter was 1.8% versus the expected 2%. Versus the Swiss franc, the US dollar opened at 0.9362 and closed at 0.9355. The Swiss National Bank will release its quarterly bulletin today, and investors will monitor this to draw conclusions for the future of the franc. Against the Canadian dollar, the greenback dropped to 1.0211 from 1.0276 in advance of the monthly Canadian GDP announcement expected later today. The Australian dollar jumped to 1.0133 from 1.067 against the US dollar on improved market sentiment. The British pound rose slightly to 1.5678 from 1.5666 versus the US dollar, as the third quarter GDP came out better than expected at 0.6%. Oil prices rose to $99.02 a barrel from $98.66. Gold fell to $1,607.60 an ounce from $1,612.70. Silver moved down to $29.20 an ounce from $29.29. And now let's take a look at what the currencies are doing this morning. The euro-US dollar pivot point is 1.3085 with a preference to sell short at 1.3085. The US dollar Japanese yen pivot point is 77.95 with a preference to buy long at 77.95. The Australian dollar US dollar pivot point is 1.0120 with a preference to buy long at 1.0120. The British pound US dollar pivot point is 1.5650 with a preference to buy long at 1.5650. The US dollar Canadian dollar pivot point is 1.0250 with a preference to sell short at 1.0250. And now looking at commodities. The oil pivot point is 98.40 with a preference to buy long at 98.40. The gold pivot point is 1,617 with a preference to sell short at 1,617. The silver pivot point is 29.70 with a preference to sell short at 29.70. For more up-to-date information, please visit easy-forex.com. Looking at today's market movers now on the calendar. We have Canada's GDP for October, forecast flat at 0%. The US durable goods orders for November are forecast to rise by 2%, and US new homes data for November is forecast to rise to 313,000. Now on to equities. In Europe, they were positive across the board, with the FTSE 100 up 1.25%, the DAX up 1.05%, and the CAC up 1.36%. In the US, they were also positive, with the S&P 500 up 0.83% and the Dow Jones up 0.51%. In Asia, at the time of broadcast, the Nikkei was down 0.77% and the Hang Seng was up 1.18%. This has been your Daily Outlook. I'm Amanda from the Easy Forex Dealing Room. Have a great weekend and happy holidays.
Not only have you found a great place for Forex news, you found a great place to trade it. Registration is easy. Just click Join Now. Membership has its unique benefits, such as the freeze rate, the trade simulator, the inside viewer, and personal dealers. Your personal account manager waiting for you now.